Let's laugh and cry. I feel like with a story like this, you could either laugh or cry.
Oh, God.
This is from the Daily Mail.
Lord.
This is playing with fire. It could spark a lab-generated pandemic. How about that? Experts slam Boston lab, where scientists have created a new deadly COVID strain with an 80% kill rate. Why?
Great.
Why are they making this? So here's what they did. Actually simple. So the Omicron strain mutated over a long period of time. COVID goes out. COVID kills a lot of people. The Alpha strain was very deadly. Over time, it was getting more infectious, but weaker. That's how viruses tend to go. The Omicron strain was very infectious, but not as deadly. That makes sense. If something's too deadly, people die before they can spread the disease. So these researchers took the spike protein from Omicron and put it on the Alpha strain, which is more deadly, creating an extremely infectious and deadly virus, which killed 8 in 10 of the rodents infected.
Oh my God.
Why?
Wow.
Why did they make this?
Nice little Christmas present.
Yeah.
Why was Peter Daszak of Echo Health Alliance doing similar projects back before, of course, the larger COVID pandemic that happened when he was exactly looking at bats and coronaviruses in the Wuhan Level 3 Institute of Virology that, of course, had poor security protocols, according to many even State Department protocols and documents that came out there. Why did they do this? And the question is, they're doing this on even bigger levels than we could even imagine. And the argument here, the basic argument that they're making is we need to do this in order so we find a solution for it in the future. Number one, a lot of scientists argue that the probability of something like this happening naturally is virtually almost impossible. But two, why are you trying to make this current strain that much worse when you couldn't even figure out the original strain?
Right.
There is no solution. There is no medical solution towards the original strain. So why are you studying? Why are you wasting so much time looking at some hypothetical when you can't even figure out the original problem? So that's something that needs to be understood here, as well as the fact that, again, Peter Daszak is continuing to do the same experiments in other countries. We know about this because it's Boston University, but what about the studies in Laos? What about the studies in Myanmar? What about the studies going on right now in Vietnam that we don't know anything about? That Echo Health Alliance, by the way, was subpoenaed, was told by the U.S. government, hey, you got to send us your notes about what you guys were doing with the coronavirus in Wuhan. Eco Health Alliance, even though they were financed by the U.S. government, by Dr. Fauci, said, no, we're just not going to give you any of the notes. They're not being transparent, and they're being rewarded with more grants that were just issued a couple weeks ago, continuing to make viruses as lethal as they can. Why are they doing this? A lot of people speculate bioweapons. And this could be one reason why Bill Gates came out a few months ago and said the second pandemic is going to be a lot deadlier. He said that very promisingly, and who in the world knows what they're up to?
Happily, probably.
What's that saying? We spend so much time wondering if we could do it. We never asked ourselves if we should do it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm like reading this story where they're talking about taking this protein and making, so the Omicron strain infected mice. The mice did not die. They then created like the Omicron S strain or whatever they're calling it, and it killed 8 out of 10. And they were like, oh, look, we did it. We made something that can kill mice. It's like, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, you could have injected them with bleach. That would have killed them too.
Right.
Like,
Right.
obviously, this, like, you make a deadly virus, it will kill them. I don't trust them. We had a conversation with Drew Miller, who has a PhD in, nuclear wartime battlefield stuff or whatever. And he was talking about how we have no biolabs in the United States. Like, the United States does not operate bioweapons labs. And I'm like, it's just semantics. If U.S. laboratories are making extremely deadly viruses that they're extremely infectious and extremely lethal, and you argue they're not weapons because we don't use them for that, and I'm like, so the question is, if I have a factory that makes explosives, but we use it for mining operations,
Right.
we're not making weapons. Then someone comes in, buys the company, and then sells them for war. Did we make weapons or not?
Right.
So like a knife company, we make fancy knives for culinary purposes, and then someone buys them and goes and fights with them. Did the company manufacture weapons? The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. They manufactured weapons. Was it their intent? No, but it doesn't matter. So we're seeing this, and I'm like, hey, that is a bioweapon. Now call it whatever you want. Say whatever you want about it. If you make a nuclear bomb and say, we just want to see if it would explode, I'll be like, yeah, okay, well, you're making nuclear weapons.
Yeah.